Episode 251 of the Lone Hockey Podcast. Today we're talking about some standouts in last night's, or should I say afternoon, that matchup between Dallas and Colorado. And of course, the biggest storyline coming into this game, Mikko Rantanen coming back facing Colorado. Now officially because he got an assist on the first goal of the game for Dallas. And officially, Mikko Rantanen has 32 or not 32 points. He has points against all 32 teams in the NHL. So something interesting. It's interesting how Mikko Rantanen, we would have never ever expected Mikko Rantanen to get moved. Now he ends up on his third team in 1 year, which is pretty crazy. And he seems to be a really good fit in Dallas. Way better fit in Dallas than he is in Carolina. Like the start of his career in Carolina, and I know it was a very short tenure there, but the start of his career in Carolina, it just didn't really flow that well. Versus him in Dallas, it's just natural. It looks super natural. I think part of it's him being in the West, part of it's him being slightly co closer to Colorado, him still being on that western-ish coast side, sort of, even though Dallas is kind of in the middle. And I just think it's a really nice fit for him. He's played really well so far there, and I think he looks awesome in that uniform. I think he could be the star of his own team there for a long time, and especially with guys like Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn getting older, who knows when they're gonna phase out at Dallas if that ever happens. I would imagine it's gonna happen at some point, maybe more so for Ben than Sagan. But I just think when it comes to the impact that Mikko Rantanen had in this game, it was really awesome to see. And then you look at how some of the other players fared, like Matt Duchene played really well in this game against his former team, that being Colorado too. And I thought Jamie Benn was noticeable. I think a lot of the lineup was really noticeable, and of course, a lot of it gets overshadowed because when you're so focused on Mikko Rantanen in this game, you're gonna pay more attention to him than you are anybody else. So I think like some of those star guys like Wyatt Johnson, it's it's one of those games where you don't really notice him as much compared to other ones, but he's still really effective. I think a lot of their lineup was as a whole. Like Rope Hintz was back, he was really effective too. And Mason Marchment was really effective. And especially on the physical side, Jason Robertson looked really good. Liam Bichsel, if I pronounced that right. I really like his game too. I think he's going to grow into a really good shutdown defenseman in the league. Already 6'7", and I believe he's 20 years old, if not 21, and plays just a really heavy in-your-face game. He's annoying to play against, and a lot of it starts with the height advantage. He's got a size advantage over other players that allows him to be able to play a little bit more physical. But some players at that height, especially when they're younger, they don't necessarily want to play that physical. But with Bixel, he does. He plays very aggressive, and he's not afraid to be able to make some guys angry. Let's per se. For we could say some worse things, but he's not afraid to make guys angry, and I think that's a testament to just how he's able to play. And I think that's part of the reason why they drafted him, and part of the reason why they wanted him there in the first place. And I kind of like what Dallas has. Like they have a little bit of a younger core, you could say, on their defensive lineup, on their left side, especially when you're talking about guys like Miro Heiskanen and Liam Bichsel could be a long-term top six, if not top four shutdown option. Maybe could grow into a top four role. I could totally see that happening. Maybe could even play the right side. I'd say he's better suited to the left, but just because of his lack of skating extension in certain areas, I think he's more better suited to the left side. But and then you look at Thomas Harley. Thomas Harley is another lefty who can also play the right side. So you have options there. And it's a little bit of a younger core, so that helps you too. And I just think with Dallas, it's gonna be a team that's gonna be good for a long time. And I think with the good mix of veterans and younger-ish players that they have, it's a really nice fit. And acquiring Mikko Rantanen in his prime, just really nice fit there too. And yeah, just a really exciting team to watch. And I honestly, I haven't really paid too much attention in past years of Dallas. I knew they were a really good team, but I think getting Mikko Rantanen puts them over the edge a little bit more, and he was just so good in that game yesterday. And Dallas made a pushback. They were down, I believe it was 3-1 late in the game. They ended up scoring twice in under 40 seconds to tie the game. Game went to overtime, and Dallas lost, but it was a well-deserved point. They at least got a point out of it. Obviously, they would have won it too. I think any team wants to, just for the natural competitive side of the game. Everybody wants to get 2 points and the human side of things. But Dallas fighting back, getting 1 point, that's still really good effort from them. That's still really good for them to get one in there because they could have got none. They almost didn't come back in the game, so they fought their way back into the game and they got at least 1 point, which is a good thing for them. But obviously two would be ideal. So on Colorado side, Cam Makar, highlight reel overtime winner. Just awesome goal. So exciting to watch. Just a testament to how Cale Makar is able to play the game. Electric, pace, tons of skill, puck skill. Like he just plays so active in terms of his offensive ability, how he's able to control the blue line and stuff like that. He's so fun to watch and one of the best defensemen in the league for a reason. So I think he was really effective. Val Nichushkin looked really good in this game. Part of me wonders, and this is just pure speculation, but when talk about the Mikko Rantanen move and guys that could replace his style, I think the one guy who could really replace his style and actually give some offense to Colorado is Val Nichushkin, who could really take that next step. I'm not saying he's Mikko Rantanen clone because he's not. Val Nichushkin's coming from a very different perspective, but he was also a higher draft pick. Mikko Rantanen was a top 10 pick. I believe he was 10th. I believe Val Nichushkin was top 15, so relatively close. But I'm just saying, longer term, if you want a player to replace Rantanen's style of play, Val Nichushkin's arguably the perfect fit because he's already gotten experience in your lineup. He's become the best version of himself as a player in Colorado. And I would imagine he's only going to get better down the line. I don't know what his ceiling is because the other thing is he's dealt with injuries and off ice stuff and all sorts of chaos in God knows what. And with Nichushkin, I would imagine if you get him for a full 82 game season, you might be able to get some level of Rantanen like production. I wouldn't necessarily say 90 and 100 points, but I would say more so 70 or 80. I think that could be his ceiling, and that could be something that he could provide that's realistic. Again, I don't know what he could be long term, but he's still a relatively younger age and around the same age as Rantanen, brings a similar style to Rantanen, and also plays a lot faster than Rantanen. So I think when you combine those elements together, it's a rare combination that you can find in a player, and Val Nichushkin has it. So, like I said before, pure speculation. But I would wonder long term if he's able to stay healthy, and if he's able to stay in the lineup and deal with whatever off ice stuff he's dealing with, and play a full 82 game season, I could totally see Nichushkin being maybe a 30, 40 goal guy, 70, 80 point guy. I think that's certainly in the books for him. He showed that potential before, and he's a top six forward now in this league. He used to be a fourth liner, but now he's a bona fide top six forward in this league. He was so good yesterday, and he just brings an element that many of Colorado's wingers don't have, which is the physical element, the size advantage, the stride extension, and the pure power which he's able to attack with. He attacks with no fear off the rush and at full speed. So I think it's rare you have a player like that, and it's rare you find those types of players and who are also very physical. And Marty Necas, another guy who has been an awesome fit in Colorado ever since being acquired by Colorado from Carolina. Has just been a seamless transition. Obviously, playing with Nathan MacKinnon, anybody's going to get a bump playing with Nathan MacKinnon, whether it be Arturi Lehkonen or anyone else. But Martin H has just been replacing Mikko Rantanen per se really well, and he's just been awesome and has been super productive and really exciting to watch. And then another guy who I've really liked the fit with Colorado for him, and I've really liked his fit with Val Nichushkin on a line at 5-on-5 together is Brock Nelson. I think Brock Nelson's a really underrated play driver at even strength offense, and defensive ability, transition ability, how he uses his puck skills to really slice through coverage and be able to weave through pressure that way. I think he is nuanced in the sense of how he plays the center position. And he doesn't play the center position like a Charlie Coyle. He doesn't play the center position like a Nathan McKinnon. He's kind of in between. And that's a really unique blend. I think it's a way better upgrade at 2C for them than Casey Middlestat. Because when you look at it now and the depth they have, it's like, oh yeah, Charlie Coyle is a way better fit. Brock Nelson, way better fit. Like it made so much sense why they went out and got those guys at the deadline because they just really needed to round themselves out a little bit more. I think getting Charlie Coyle and Brock Nelson has done that, and they just look like so electric. Every line they can roll out has tons of speed, tons of forechecking ability, tons of defensive ability. And this Colorado team, I think they're going to make a run again. I really do. I think, and we're probably going to see a first round matchup out of Dallas and Colorado. And unfortunately, one of those teams is going to have to go out if that's the case. But I could totally see Colorado making a run for it again this year. I think this is a team that has depth. They have tons of speed. They have lot of chemistry, like a lot of instantaneous chemistry that is really hard to find. Especially getting Charlie Coyle, he's been a really nice chemistry fit in that third line. Brock Nelson and Val Nichushkin together have been arguably unstoppable. Like those two together have been just dynamite. And whichever other winger you put on the line, they're gonna get a bump too. So it's like you get a chemistry boost, you get a skill boost, you get a two-way boost, you get an all-around boost. Like there's so many elements that Colorado has now. And it's just like, wow, this is a team that is really, really, really exciting to watch. And it's so unique too because the guys they have, they're bigger, but they skate so well. All their bigger guys move so well. It's so unique. They have a bunch of guys now who are over 6'2", 6'3", and they move so well. And Charlie Coyle and Brock Nelson being the recent ones. And it's just like, holy cow. It looks like a really different team compared to what we saw before the deadline, about a few weeks before, and even before Rantanen got traded. But it's so interesting now. I think they have so many different elements that they can weaponize. I think Martin H is again similar to Val Nichushkin, but a little bit different. He brings an element that Rantanen doesn't bring. He brings the size, but also the fearlessness and the speed to be able to cut through pressure and be able to have high end skill with that as well. Val Nichushkin doesn't have high end skill. He has really great skill, way above average skill. But Marty Natchez has borderline elite level skill. I think that's the difference maker there. And I think it's so rare to see a player like Marty Natchez do the things that he does. And he's able to maintain the pace with Nathan McKinnon, which is extremely rare to do for any player. So I just think this Colorado team is an absolute wagon. They're so fun to watch. They got so much upside in terms of how they can shift guys around and move guys to different positions. And like I said before, I think this is going to be a team that makes a long-term run throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. I just think they have the personnel to do it, they have the depth to do it, and they have the skill to do it. That's for sure.